Hello, everyone, and welcome. Today I'm going to be showing how to start a new integration with Exalate between a Jira Service Management and an Azure DevOps. For, for starters, you need to go to the exalate.app page where you're going to register your user and you're going to be creating a workspace. Once you have completed those steps, you're going to be greeted with this screen where we can already start with our connection. So we're going to click on Add Connection, create a new connection. Here we get the prompt to select the system A. In this case, it's going to be the Jira, which is already registered with Exalate here. So I can click on Next. For system B, we're going to be using, as I mentioned, an ADO. So we're going to call it ADO Exalate2. And we need to add the system URL. So we come to the ADO, copy, paste. And as you can see here, is actually asking me to authenticate since this ADO was never used with Jira before, or with Exalate before. We need to authenticate with a personal access token. So I click on check authentication. I get the green tick. So this means that we are good to move to the next step. So here we have the connection name. By default, Exalate is picking up the system A name and system B name, but this can also be modified as you want. You can also add a description if you wanted. Then we click next and we go to the overview. The overview will basically start showing which instance we're going to be connecting. So we have the Jira Cloud, we have the ADO, and the connection name. I'm happy with it. All this, create connection. And here Exalate is doing the registration. So for the instance that was registered, get the green tick right away. For the other one, it actually did the registration and now has created the connection, and we can already move to configuration. So click here, and it's going to be prompting to select the project. This is the project from the Jira, and this is the project from the ADO. This project selection will be where by default Exalate will be creating the tickets that we send from one side to the other one. However, this can be changed later on the scripts. So we have the connection already. We can do publish and quick sync. So for starters, I'm gonna want to show that with the default connection just created, without doing any setup on the scripting, we can already start synchronizing tickets. So I'm looking for this ticket on the Jira side, and we can click sync now. This will be basically picking up the information that we have on this ticket and will be sending against the Azure. As you can see on the Azure, I don't have any ticket so far. So if we click on refresh, we can see that we already have the first ticket that was sent from Exalate here. As you can see by default, like we have the description, everything here. And what I want to show is that we can already do a comment from JSM, and with the default script, Exalate will already start synchronizing comments from one ticket to the other. So you see here, you see that it's syncing, it's already synchronized. So if we come here, hello from JSM, so it's working from scratch with the default scripts. Now let's talk a little bit about the scripting. This is the current configuration that we have, is the template that it was set up by Exalate. So we have the outgoing from the Jira side and the incoming from the Azure side. What is the outgoing script? So basically on the outgoing script from either side, we are going to be selecting what information we want to send from one side to the other. For example, here you can see that I have a custom field called TS ticket that says hello world. And currently that is not being synchronized against the Azure. So what we want now is to actually synchronize that field too. So we're gonna select new version, we're gonna do an edit, and we are gonna be adding on the outgoing script, like custom field. And we know that it's called TS ticket. So this is the field that we want to send, and basically the same for the issue. Here we are basically defining A replica is how we pack the information to send one another from one side to the other. So we want to grab the information from this custom field, the TS ticket, and we are going to add on the incoming from the Azure side. We basically want to synchronize the information from this replica, and we want to synchronize to this is Exalate field. So we do work item, custom field is Exalate dot value, and we grab this from the replica custom fields. Here we use the replica that we created here, so it's TS ticket. And we also want to add the dot value. Basically, here we are telling Exalate from how the information is packaged, grab the value. So we're gonna save the script. We are gonna publish, and now we are gonna be doing another comment from the Jira instance. Go forward to the ADO instance. So we can already open here, and as you can see here, now we have the new comment, and we also have the field that it has been populated as we requested. So far, we have seen like how a manual synchronization works. So what if we don't want to manually select the tickets that we want to synchronize? So for that, we can use triggers. So with triggers, we are going to be defining a logic that Exalate will use to synchronize tickets. So I want to start any synchronization from my Jira to this Azure. So I'm going to create a trigger that it would be working on the Jira side. And basically here we can use a JQL. So I'm going to select project APS and labels. It's going to be sync now 3. So save the trigger. And you can see Exalate has already found one item that it's matching this logic. So it will already start doing that synchronization. So we publish the latest draft. And if we go back to the Jira, we can now create a new task. We're going to call trigger. We're going to basically create. We want to see the task because on the logic that we use, we mentioned that it had to match also a label. So we add a description, and we can now add the label sync now 3. Since this ticket is now matching the trigger condition, Exalate will pick this up and it will basically create the new ticket. As you can already see here, we already have it. It was created on this side as well. So now we can also start doing comments from here, from ADO, and by default, the connection will be bidirectional between these two tickets and any other ticket that match the condition. Great, let's see a little bit more about the scripting part. So for example, let's say that I want to show how powerful scripting is with Exalate. So now we're gonna do a change on the Jira side. So we're gonna create a new version. And what we want to use now is that in the replica, in the summary, the issue summary, instead of only having the same summary, we also want to add, for example, the remote ticket ID, right? So we can, let's put it between brackets. So we're gonna do this, closing bracket. So basically here what we are doing is concatenating between strings and the logic with Exalate. So here we want to do replica dot key, meaning that now Exalate will basically create a concatenation between brackets of the ticket ID from the remote side and the summary. So we can save the script. We can publish. So you can see with Exalate, you also have different versions. So if you are doing a change in production and you want to go back to the previous one because something failed or you're not happy, it's easy to change between different versions. You just select the old one, click on restore, and basically from that moment on, the logic, the script that you're going to be using is the one from the previous one. So here we have the one we just created. So now we can come here and do another update. And now with this latest update, Exalate will basically pick up what we change, and it's going to be changing here on this ticket. After the refresh, we already have the ticket ID that we added on the other side. Right, so this is how to start a basic integration using Exalate, how to set up new triggers. In this case, we only set up the trigger from the Jira side. So if we select the Jira first here, we're going to see the trigger, but we are not doing triggers from the Azure to the Jira. It's worth mentioning that you can use triggers from both sides if the synchronization is going to be bidirectional. So if both sides can create issues, then you can start from there. With the scripting, you can also create status mapping. You can see, for example, in here that we have some recommendations on how to do some things. So you can, for example, if you want, you can create a status mapping. So Exalate will now basically grab the status that we are sending from the Jira and map it to the correct status on the Azure side. There's a lot of documentation on our page. We also have a great community where you can post any configuration questions, and we are going to be providing all the assistance that we can on the community. Thank you all for seeing this.